Hello, I'm Rosie and this is my February book haul. I have quite a lot of books to show you this week. I kind of went on a book buying binge and as a result I am now on a book buying ban until I have read all of the books on my TBR shelf. That is quite a lot, so I don't imagine there'll be many hauls in the near future. But for now I will show you all the books I have. I'm going to start with the books I managed to get second hand. The first is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I've not read Jane Eyre yet and I know it's one that I absolutely have to read. So this is quite high up on my list, but I've got a friend who also wants to read it, so we're planning on reading it together at some point. Next up I have The Secret Garden by Hodgson Burnett. I'm very sorry about the pronunciation of all the names in this video. I can't pronounce things at all. I loved this book when I was younger, and as soon as I saw that I could get it for quite a good value, I bought it. And I'm quite looking forward to reading it again. I then have another book from my childhood, which is Mr. Galliano's Circus by Enid Blyton. This book is probably the only one in my haul that is not actually for me. I bought this as a Mother's Day present, but I imagine I will probably be reading it at some point as well because I love this book, but our copy's fallen apart. So I'm very excited with this buy, and it's just like my childhood all over again. Lastly, for secondhand books, I got Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. I really want to see the film, but I think before I watch the film I want to read the book, and I managed to find the book for £2 in a secondhand shop, and this copy is new. This is not a secondhand copy. This is a book that I got for £2 and it's brand new, and I am just so excited by it. And I'm really looking forward to reading it. The first of the new books is The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. I know next to nothing about this book. All I know is that it's had really good reviews from everyone who's read it that I know. It's massive, so I think it'll be one that I read in the holidays when I haven't got lectures and stuff to prepare for. The back makes it sound quite interesting, although I still don't know what it's about at all. I'm just quite looking forward to reading it. I think it'd be quite different to other books that I've read, which will make for quite an interesting read. I then have After Dark by Haruki Murakami. I've heard a lot of good things about Haruki Murakami, and I've been really looking forward to reading something of his for a while. So I went to the bookshop and just browsed all his books, and I think I'm still not sure whether it's a style I like, so I've got quite a thin one, and hopefully if I like this, I will go out and buy more. I then have Fangirl by Rowell. I've been umming and ahhing about buying this book for a long time. I've heard so many good things about the book and Rowell as an author, but the plot just doesn't really appeal that much to me. I think I'll enjoy it, and I have a feeling I'll relate to it. It's not a type of book I'd normally read. I'm not that into contemporary novels, and it sounds a bit odd with the whole fan fiction thing. Though I have a feeling from everything I've heard that it will turn out really well and I will just love this book, as everyone else has. So I'm really looking forward to reading it, and I've got bonus content, which I didn't realise until I removed the sticker off. I've also finally bought Cinder by Marissa Meyer. I've heard amazing things about this on BookTube and I'm so excited to read it because I love fairy tales, and anything about fairy tales I will love. And this whole concept of like a reimagining of Cinder as an android. I hope that's not too much of a spoiler, it's on the back, but that whole concept just sounds brilliant to me and I'm really looking forward to reading this, although I am saving it for a special occasion when I can truly sit down and just read through it rather than having to take myself out of the story every now and again to go to lectures or bed or work, as I'm having to do at the moment. But I also bought City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. I've also heard fantastic things about this book and I'm really looking forward to reading it. In March there will be a Mortal Instruments read-along, which I'll be joining in with, which is why I bought this book. I'll put the link to that in the description below for anyone interested, and I'm really looking forward to reading this. I've also got the film, so another friend of mine is also joining in with the reading, and when we've finished it we're going to watch the film to compare. I have heard that the film isn't as good, but I generally expect that for most films. So I'll be interested to see the comparison between the film and the book. I then have a couple of books that I've already read. The first is Slaughterhouse 5, and some friends of mine have started a book club and this was our first book, because it's the only classic that we could find none of us have read, and it's also quite a thin one, so it would fit around studies and our various commitments and the other books we have to read. And I really enjoyed this. It was odd, I'll give you that, but it's definitely one that's worth reading. I then also bought Elizabeth is Missing, which is the Waterstones Book Club edition, which has a short story at the end, which I haven't read, but I have read the rest of this book, and I have to say it is a fantastic. It's one of the better depictions of dementia that I've read, and I think this whole story is thrilling and just brilliant, and I will be recording a review for this at some point in the near future, so I highly recommend picking it up for a read. I then also bought my first ever graphic novel. I bought The Wicked and the Divine, mainly because of the cover, which looks just really pretty, but also because the back sounds interesting. It's like every 90 years 12 gods are resurrected as pop stars or just people to give inspiration to the world, and the artwork in this is fantastic. I mean, I would happily have that framed on my wall, but I just love flicking through it and looking at the pictures, and the story is quite good. It's not as good as I would have liked, but it's interesting, and I think I may continue to get the next set. I probably won't be buying the individual issues, just the collections, because I don't really want loads of issues lying around. Lastly, I have two books that I'm currently reading or just about to start reading. The first is Tess of the D'Urbervilles, which I've also bought secondhand. I don't really know what to make of this. I'm only one chapter in, and I've only read one Thomas Hardy book before, which I didn't really enjoy. So I've heard lots of things about Tess of the D'Urbervilles, and I know it's a book that I kind of feel I have to read, but I'm not entirely sure whether I'd enjoy it. So I'm taking it a bit at a time, and hopefully I'll get into the story a bit more. I then have Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. I've been waiting for this book for ages, and it is one that I have been desperate to read, and I think it'll probably be read. My original plan was to read Tess of the D'Urbervilles and then go on to this, but as I think about it, I just want to get down and read this without a break. So I am very excited to just get down and read this. I love the cover. Like, I don't really know much about the story, but the cover is beautiful. I've heard fantastic things, and like from the back it just sounds amazing, and I just want to read it, so I'm going to read it. It's also the biggest book I probably have right now in terms of size. It's bigger than my face. I also got The Sin Eater's Daughter by Melinda Salisbury. I enjoyed this. Like, for this one, I'm not really sure whether I liked it or not. Like, I read it instantly, I couldn't put it down. It does have issues that I didn't really like. Probably filming a review for this one as well, just because I feel I've got a lot to say on it. Normally I just write a review on my blog unless it's a book that I feel I have a lot to say, or it's one that's on my list of books to read in 2015, or it's a TBR challenge. I definitely think it's worth the read, and I will definitely be continuing the series when the next one comes out. I love the book, but it does have some issues that I did have trouble with. That was my February book haul, and probably my last one for a while, although knowing me, as soon as I get down to maybe 10 books remaining, I will probably go and buy more books or order books, so you never know when the next book haul will be. At least I've got loads of books to read and keep me busy, but I do tend to get through books quite quickly. Like I've already read 18 books this year, and I am well on my way to reading more. Till next time, goodbye!